All right, guys. Welcome. Sean here at Blue Ridge Silverhound. Saturday kind of market update. We're about 2/3 of the way through the month of January. I figure we'd give you guys an update on 2025 coinage. That seems to be kind of like the hot waiting moment so far for the year. All right, and normally, we begin to see some of those drop on the streets. Normally about 10 to 15 days in. So we'll take a look and see if there's anything that have come up for sale. If people have reported finding any of the 2025s, we're going to talk a little bit about the market ramifications of this year's circulating coinage, and just letting you guys know, what's coming down the pipeline. We are a year ahead from the 2026 semi-quincentennial event. Now, I'm gonna be talking your guys' ear off this year. I hope you don't mind about this event. It's a big deal. It's what we call a generational kind of event, right? It happens every 50 years. We had the bicentennial in 1976. A lot of the folks that did go through that are, very along the years. They're in their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. The next big one, of course, the 250th anniversary next year, and then 50 years later, in 2076 or whatever it is. A lot of the folks that had enjoyed the 200-year anniversary and next year's event, unless there's some weird advancements in medicine, this is the one. This is the one that's a big deal for a lot of folks, myself included. I'll be in my upper 90s in 50 years. So, I may still be around, not really sure. I have to assume that next year's event is going to be the one for me and for a lot of folks out there. So it's a big deal. Hoping that the Mint will really push and promote this one to levels that's never been seen from the U.S. Mint. I know we probably will be asking a lot from them, and you better believe we're going to be asking for a lot. So yeah, we'll talk about 2025, and then 2026 will just become a recurring theme all throughout the rest of the year. We're counting down the months, and then we'll soon be counting down the days. 2024, the only coin that's worth talking about, the Jefferson nickel. Guess what? I have a little bit of bad news for the folks that were investing in these. If you had purchased into the Philadelphia Jefferson nickel rolls, all right, keeping in mind that for most of the year, the mintages became static, and the number, ladies and gents, so we'll look at the circulating coin production numbers from the U.S. Mint, painted a story that was very favorable to the long-term collectability of these coins, primarily because of the low mintages that really bolstered the effect of the coins on the secondary market. However, the U.S. Mint, and I've always known that things like these would be a hot potato, much like every other hot coin that comes out for the year. We have to treat these as a short-term cyclical event. Every time they come out, we have to keep in mind that something could happen later on down the road to where it's going to affect the price of these, okay? We could go back to 2021. Guess what? The U.S. Mint released an awesome program of Morgan and Peace dollars. We were all thinking that this is a one-time event, and guess what? They had announced that they were going to be producing these and adding them to their normal, regular product lineup each and every single year, thereby diminishing the release not only from 2021 but for years beyond. It's just going to become just another coin that's going to be inflated on the U.S. Mint website. And we certainly cannot leave circulating coins out of this. For every, Tom, Dick, Harry, or Jane that comes out, a really neat variety, a neat error, things of that nature. It's like it's the hottest thing at that given time. But we have to keep in mind, once that calendar flips over to the next year, people's minds and their kind of pursuit is going to be on the next big thing. That's the same with these 2024 P-rolls. However, we're talking about these Jefferson Nickel rolls in a different capacity, and it was brought to my attention from someone on Whatnot. We were just kind of having a casual conversation. They said, "Hey, did you hear that the U.S. Mint had doubled the production of the Jefferson Nickels to close out 2024. I'm like, no, I really did not hear about it. I did hear that there was some sort of Federal Reserve kind of press conference or something like that had gone in, that had happened toward the waning weeks of the month of December. Didn't really think anything of it. He said, yeah, they had doubled the production of the Philadelphia coins. The Philadelphia coins, which, as you guys know, the Denver production of the Jefferson Nickel for 2024 was the new low watermark for the mintages. So as long as that went untouched, it was going to be the undisputed king of modern key date coins. And the P-Mint coin was very close to being near that Denver production number. But guess what? They had made a buttload of new 2024 Philadelphia struck P-Minted Jefferson Nickels, which completely decimated the original low watermark numbers. So we're going to get to this here on eBay. These are some sales of some pretty incredible items. The 2024 Jefferson Nickels that's sold within the last 90 days. I think we ought to preface it by showing you guys this. This tells the tale right here. So keep in mind the second line, Jefferson 5 cents. This was the total and finite final numbers from 2024. The Denver, still the king of kings at 32,880,000. We're going to look at and see how much rolls of the Denver coins are still selling for today, even though we have flipped into the 2025 calendar year. Take a look at the second number for the Philadelphia coins, keeping in mind that number used to be right around 37, 38 million. It's nearly 80 million. You guys already know what I'm going to say. That number virtually crushed the market for 2024 P-minted nickels. If you had bought in when this number was still 38 million, you were doing okay. Kind of the crazy part of this whole saga is that number stayed at 38 million up until about the last day and a half of 2024. And all these poor suckers here, keeping in mind that these are all full bank boxes of Philadelphia coins. Back in November and December, people were paying $2,500, $3,000 for these. I'm hoping that they had flipped these before the U.S. Mint had made that second wave production to close out the year. And I have a feeling that they had done that because they had some available I guess working money to go into payroll, and they figured they needed to kind of round out some of their quota. And they looked at the nickels. They're like, okay, the Philadelphia Mint is ready to articulate some of the production to round out the year. Let's just go ahead and pump out more nickels. And sure as shit, they did. So here's what it was if you were going to be a fly on the wall. Looking at these numbers, and the few of us that actually have a couple $2,000 or $3,000 to dump into these as either a long-term future investment, which it could still be, all right, or if you are going to take these and then flip them on the secondary market, to the tune of, if you were selling, because at the time they were selling for about $50 to $60 per roll up until about the last couple weeks. The market crashed on them, and that's the parity with the coin market, is things like that will greatly and hugely affect what's going to happen. Even just doubling the mid production on a circulating coinage. Granted, it's still under 100 million, but it has moved the needle quite a bit more to where it's not even in the conversation as being like a top 2 or 3 lowest production run coin from the last like 50 years. So almost 80 million made. It literally takes it out of the conversation. So December 8th, they had the one sale for $31.50. Here's November 6th for $3,000. Again, these are P-minted rolls. We haven't looked at Denver yet. 2,900. December 3rd. 2,900 on the 13th, the 16th, 2,800. And as you can tell, people were having some pretty good luck sourcing these, through the bank. 2,800, 2,650 on the 19th. Not that anyone was like beginning to kind of like, I think there was enough supply to meet demand at this point, toward the like last 10 days, because prices were already beginning to retrace in the $2,500 level. But, there was enough supply, even here on December 31st, the very last day of the year, some poor schlub paid $2,350, $2,100 in January 1st. As of right at this time, the Mint had not updated the production numbers on their website. So people were still under the belief that, there was still money to be made here. And it dipped under $2,000. All right. $2,000, the 11th. Here's another one here on January 2nd. And, it just keeps sliding away. There were even a few, well, this is like a partial box, 22 rolls, 20 rolls. And here you go, January 18th. Which just shows new listing, 2024 Jefferson Nickel Bank Box, 50 rolls, $1,000, which signifies a pretty disastrous droppage in the value of a full bank box of these. I just don't know what to say. $1,000 on the 14th, the 15th, the 15th, the 18th. And the price just keeps on eroding from there. There's another one here for $900. There's some partial boxes, 30 rolls, 25 rolls, within the last day or two. It's pretty crazy to see how far from grace that these had fallen. And it's just like that. It lost over 50% of its value right off the cuff. I just don't know quite what to say in that, sure, it was anticipated. There were some rumors and some grumbling that the Mint and the Fed Reserve were working on some sort of, kind of pact to produce some last minute coins. And unfortunately, the P-Mint Jefferson Nickel was the target for such a campaign. And they did it. And it crushed the market. Which is unfortunate because, I ended up buying a roll, sometime like the middle of December for 55 plus tax on eBay. And that was the worst that happened. And I'm okay with it. Now it's going to be a roll that's sit in my personal PC collection because I still need a Denver roll. I'm going to have to cough up how much money that's going to be. Which brings me to part 2 of this whole thing. So we are going to take a look at the newly listed, and you're going to find that the last few Denver roll listings, we're still in that kind of like 180 to 200 average, and that number has not changed in, I would say, the last like month. All right, last 30 days. Here's $180.50. This one is actually a best kind of thermometer check, I guess, barometer check, because this one was bid up to that amount in a regular auction format, 8 bids. Let's see if we can find another one here. Here's 4. Well, this one is misleading. 4 2024 D Jefferson Nickel bank wrap rolls, $200 each. Sold it for $200. Did they buy 1 roll or 4 rolls? I think it's for 1 roll, because they even specified $200 per each. Let's see. Let's click into that, and it's probably a Dutch auction. Yeah, it is. So they had 4 rolls, sold out of them, $200 a pop. Unless you put in a best offer, you could have probably scored one for $180, $190. Here's a broken, and again, I tell you guys, if you get these, do not open them up. They're worth more sealed than they are opened. An opened 40 coin lot. They even say that these are AU, slightly circulated, $140.50 for all D mints. So the Denver's has been officially locked in as being the number. That's not going to change. And for those of you that invested in the Denver rolls, congratulations. You are safe. You are safe, because 2025 production is happening as we speak. So, yeah, now you can get two P mint rolls for the price of 1 from about 4 weeks ago. I mean, it's crazy. I could have bought 2 rolls for $55. I mean, it's not like I lost a lot of money because all I needed was the 1 roll, and I bought it and I needed it, and that was that. Losing $20 or $30 or whatever it is at the end of the day is irrelevant to me. All right, but yeah, again, this shows the kind of like cruel world of the collectibles market that can happen at any given time. Fortunately with coins, this is an event that doesn't happen too often, whereas like, let's say in sports cards or I guess as of right now, Pokemon cards is like the hot thing. There's this like new set that came out this week. And there was like reports of people like getting into fights at Costco and Target and all that stuff, to get some of these boxes. But the moment that the companies print more, because they could always print more at any given time, it doesn't matter what time of the year or if the calendar had changed. If it falls within the window of like the modern sets, they could always reprint more at any given time. So yeah, kind of crazy, but we just don't see that with coins. The moment that the calendar turns, they have to shift their production to the coins of that particular date. They just cranked out enough nickels, to really move the needle, and then halfway through the month of January, they went and changed that number on the US Mint website. Okay. So 2025 coinage. Okay. A little bit of startling news with 2025 in that where in the hell are 2025 coins? Lincoln cents should have dropped by now. And here's the problem. When we're on the circulating page part of the US Mint website, and you go under the circulated coins production piece here on the website, you go to you have to pick a year. 2025 isn't available to be picked yet, which means that it means that they haven't reported anything. They probably are producing some coins. We don't know what it is. I'm hoping Lincoln cents, because people are waiting in the wings for those. And I'm telling you, I'm kind of calling this. We're going to see unprecedented lower production from 2025 coins. What that kind of breaks down to with each individual denomination remains to be seen. So we'll see. And this is all, again, ahead in anticipation for 2026 as the U.S. Mint is really focusing. They're doubling down their efforts for next year. Because, again, like they did in 1976, they actually did not produce a few of the coins bearing a 1975 date. the quarter, the half dollar, and the dollar coin. All right, they were actually selling 1976 coins for, proof coins and the 40% uncirculated and things like that, and the brown box Ikes. Or brown box? No, the other things, the blue envelope Ikes. And the blue envelope 3-coin sets, the 40%ers. So they were selling those, midway through 1975. Are we going to see something quite like that? I don't think so. I think times are different. Legislation has kind of pushed through certain kind of like drop dates on when everything will be available. And I have a feeling that once January hits, we're going to begin to see some of these things come out of the woodwork starting next year. But yeah, as of right now, eBay reporting 2025 Lincoln Cent. We still have some of the same old generic pre-sale whatever's on here. No one has any 2025 coins because no one has physical coins that they have taken photos of. There are no images of actual 2025 Lincoln Cents currently, and the Lincoln Cent is always the one to release first. It wouldn't make any sense for me to type in 2025 Jefferson nickel. It wouldn't do me any good to type in 2025 Roosevelt dime. Because they simply just do not exist yet. And here we are. We are 2/3 of the way into the month of January, and we have nothing yet. What in the world is going on? I don't know. It's a little early to sound an alarm here as to, kind of like speculative talk about, if these things get dropped late, kind of like what they did last year, then all of a sudden there's going to be, kind of the rumor mill is going to be cranking away as to, they're going to make less of these coins this year, blah, blah, blah. Let's go pour all our money into this. It's going to be like the next meme coin, in cryptocurrency. I'm not going to name any names, because that thing was a dud. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm still saying be on the lookout for the brand new 2025 Lincoln Cents. You just have to, if you got that kind of relationships with your banking partners, make sure you keep that high and tight. Because again, I have this gut feeling, and you have to listen to our guts more than we do our brains, because that's where a lot of the kind of like ultimate power comes to things that will be happening in the future. I have a gut that 2025 is going to be an extraordinary year. And I don't know. We'll see. We will see. It's going to be kind of crazy because we are in what I anticipate to be a transition or a bridge year, into this big event, and it's unprecedented. A lot of us have not been around for the 200th anniversary in 1976 to experience that. I think it's going to be a lot different this year than it is 49 years ago. So, yeah, kind of crazy. But I wanted to take some time, on this fine Saturday to talk about this. We're going to do a PCM Mario drop tomorrow on Sunday. But, yeah, that's all, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you had invested in the P-Mint Jefferson Nickels, my condolences to you. Good news is they're not worth nothing. All right, it could be worse. They could have produced 150 million, thereby decimating the actual value of those two down to about $5 to $10 a roll. And then that's it. That's it. I'm done. You guys have a great Saturday. I'll see you later. Keep on collecting.